You'll understand when you're a mother, Kate smirked across the dining table. Oh wait, you're not one yet. Her words stung, but I held my water glass steady. I'm Emily. I'm 34. And today, I found out my parents emptied the $45,000 adoption fund I'd spent 10 years saving to pay for Kate's fourth round of IVF. We had to choose, Mom said, holding Kate's hand. You can still have kids naturally. You're just being stubborn about adoption. I stared at the zeroed-out bank statement. They drained my account without telling me, because my parents were still co-signers from when I opened it at 24, after my first adoption fell through. You had no right, I said, voice low but steady. Dad cleared his throat, adjusting his tie. Kate's 32. Her clock's ticking. You can wait. Wait. Like I hadn't already waited my whole life. Like my infertility from the accident at 16 hadn't already forced me down a harder path. Kate patted her stomach. This time it'll work. Dr. Marshall says my chances are great. You'll be an aunt soon. Just like the last 3 times, I thought. I rose quietly. I have to go. Don't be dramatic, Mom sighed. We're family. Family helps each other. Is that what you call stealing? Said. Helping. Dad frowned. We didn't steal. We're co-signers. It was a joint decision. Joint with who? Asked. Because it wasn't with me. Kate scoffed. You're being selfish. This is about real family. Real blood. The jab hit deep. I left without another word. Back in my apartment, tears came freely. 10 years of hope erased. Because my sister's dream was more valid than mine. But then I saw it. A thick envelope on the floor. A note from my elderly neighbor. This came for you, special delivery. The handwriting stopped me. Grandma Rose. But she'd passed 6 months ago. Inside was a letter, dated just before her death, and another envelope marked, "Open only if they take the adoption fund." My hand shook. My dearest Emily, the letter read. If you're reading this, they've done what I feared. They've taken your savings for Kate's treatments. Sat stunned. She knew. I've watched them put Kate first for years. But I saw you, your heart, your strength. When you told me at 16 you couldn't carry a child, and started researching adoption instead, that's when I knew you'd be a remarkable mother. I opened the sealed envelope. Inside were trust documents and a bank statement. $250,000. I set up this trust just for you. It's only for adoption, and only you can access it. Think of it as 10 years of birthday and Christmas gifts I would have given your child. Don't let them dim your light. Your path is just as worthy. Be the mother you were always meant to be. I clutched the letter to my chest. Finally someone saw me. And finally I could begin. All my love, Grandma Rose. I sat in my quiet apartment, clutching her letter like a lifeline. For the first time in years I felt seen. Someone in my family had truly believed in me, enough to protect my dream when no one else did. Tomorrow, I'd figure out how to handle my parents' betrayal. But tonight I allowed myself something rare. Oh. The next morning my phone was flooded with messages. Mom's texts bounced between guilt trips and demands to stop being difficult. Kate left voicemails dripping with entitlement, blaming me for ruining her happiness. Even Dad, who usually stayed out of the drama, emailed to say I was being disappointing. I ignored them all. Instead, I called my adoption agency. Emily. Sandra, my coordinator, greeted me. I was just about to call. We have a situation that might interest you. My heart jumped. What kind of situation? There's a young mother, 7 months pregnant. She saw your profile and specifically asked about you. Would you like to meet her? I looked over at the trust documents on my counter. At Grandma Rose's letter. At the future she'd made possible. Yes, I said, my voice steady. I'd love to. That afternoon I met Jessica at a small coffee shop. She walked in with her hand resting gently on her belly, and I felt an instant connection. I liked what you wrote in your profile, she said as we sipped our drinks. About how family isn't about blood, it's about love. That's the kind of home I want for my baby. We talked for hours. She was thoughtful, clear-eyed, and certain about her decision. By the time we said goodbye, we had agreed to move forward together. I floated out of the coffee shop, filled with joy, until I saw Kate leaning against my car. "Mom's crying, you know," she said flatly. "She can't believe you're being so selfish." Took a breath. "I'm not having this conversation. The money's already gone," she continued, ignoring me. "My next treatment is scheduled. You might as well stop sulking and be supportive." "Supportive?" I asked quietly. "Like you've been about my adoption plans." She waved it off. "That's different. This is about having a real baby. Continuing the family line. Mom and Dad get that." "My child will be real," I said firmly. "And thanks to Grandma Rose, they'll be here sooner than you think." Kate's eyes narrowed. "What does that mean?" Smiled. "It means I have options you know nothing about." Her face paled. "Is this about Grandma's letter? Mrs. Peterson said something about a delivery. What did she leave you?" "That's between me and Grandma Rose. She wouldn't play favorites." "She didn't," I said. "She played fair." Kate scoffed. "Mom and Dad need to know about this." "Go ahead. Tell them." Tell them while they were draining my adoption fund behind my back. Grandma was making sure my path to motherhood couldn't be stolen. Kate's hand trembled. "I need that money more than you do. This is my last chance." "No," I replied. "What you need is to understand that your desire for a biological child doesn't trump my right to become a mother. You don't get to decide that I'm less." I unlocked my car and slid into the driver's seat. "Oh, and by the way," I said through the window, "I just met with an expectant mother who's chosen me to adopt her baby. She's due in 2 months." Kate's face twisted in disbelief. "You're going to be an aunt? For real this time?" I drove away, her stunned silence following me like a breeze in the rearview mirror. When I got home, my phone lit up with calls from my parents, but I didn't answer. Instead, I took out Grandma Rose's letter again. Her words gave me strength. Tomorrow I'd draw boundaries. Tomorrow I'd make it clear that my dreams were no longer up for debate. Tomorrow I'd prepare for my baby. But tonight, I sat in my quiet home and began a letter to the child I hadn't met yet. I told them about their great-grandmother Rose, who believed in love more than blood, who made sure that, no matter what, I would find them. 2 months flew by in a blur of preparation. I painted the nursery soft sage green, filled the shelves with storybooks and handmade quilts, and folded tiny clothes with trembling joy. For the first time in years, I wasn't just dreaming of becoming a mother. I was becoming one. Jessica and I grew closer with every weekly lunch. We shared stories, fears, and hopes for the future. 2 women bound by something deeper than blood. When my parents found out about the adoption, their reaction was everything I expected. Mom showed up unannounced, her emotions flipping from weeping to outrage. "How could you move forward without consulting us?" she cried. "And what's this about a secret trust from your grandmother?" "I don't need your approval to become a mother," I said calmly. "Grandma Rose made her choices, just like you made yours." Dad tried a different tactic. He called with that businesslike tone he reserved for negotiations. "Look, Princess, maybe we can work something out. You could share the trust. Help Kate. Still have enough left for adoption later." "No," I replied, unwavering. "The trust is for adoption only. Grandma made sure of that." When Kate's 4th IVF round failed, the guilt trip began. "If you had helped, maybe it would have worked this time," she sobbed. "This is partly your fault." But I didn't let it in. I was focused on the future, on my child. Then, one bright Tuesday morning, Jessica went into labor. I raced to the hospital, my heart pounding. After 12 hours of pacing, hoping, and silently praying, I finally held my daughter for the first time. She was beautiful. "Hello, Rose," I whispered, tears blurring my vision. Jessica smiled from her bed. "Rose, that's beautiful." The next day, while I signed the final adoption paperwork, my parents and Kate showed up. Mom burst into tears at the sight of the baby. Dad lingered near the door, looking unsure. Kate stood back, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. "She's gorgeous," Mom breathed, reaching out for Rose. But I didn't hand her over. "Before you hold her," I said gently but firmly, "we need to be clear about something." They all looked at me. "Rose is my daughter. She's not your second chance. She's not Kate's substitute. She's not a consolation prize. It is mine. And if you want to be part of her life, things have to change." "Change?" Dad asked, frowning. "No more treating adoption like it's second best. No more comments about real family or bloodlines. No more guilt, no more control. Rose deserves better. And so do I." There was a long silence. Then Kate stepped forward. Her voice was quiet. "She's right." I blinked. "I've been awful about this. I didn't get it. I was so wrapped up in what I thought motherhood had to look like, I didn't see you. But Emily, she's perfect. She's yours." Mom wiped her eyes. "But we're still her grandparents. We want to be involved." "Then prove it," I said. "Respect my choices. Support my path. Love Rose for who she is. My daughter, chosen through love, not born through blood." Mom nodded slowly, looking down at the sleeping baby in my arms. "We can do that. We will do that." And somehow they did. In the weeks that followed, the dynamic in my family began to shift. Mom stopped bringing up Kate's fertility at every turn. Dad asked thoughtful questions about bonding through adoption. And Kate surprised me most of all. One afternoon, she showed up with a handmade blanket for Rose. "I've been seeing a therapist," she said, sitting beside me. "Trying to work through some things. I realized I've been so obsessed with having a baby. I forgot how to be a sister. Or an aunt." Rose grabbed her finger, and tears welled in her eyes. "She's amazing, Emily. You're amazing. I'm sorry I couldn't see that before." 6 months later, we hosted a small naming ceremony in my home. Mom and Dad beamed. Kate snapped photos. Jessica and her family joined us, now part of our extended circle. On the mantel sat a picture of Grandma Rose, and next to it, in a silver frame, the letter that changed everything. Mom paused in front of it, reading silently. "She always did see clearly," she whispered. "She saw you, Emily, when we were too blind to look. Thank you for giving us the chance to see you now." Just then, Rose let out a happy squeal, drawing everyone's attention and laughter. As they gathered around her, faces filled with love, not just for the baby but for each other, I silently thanked Grandma Rose. Not just for the trust fund that made this possible, but for her foresight, her faith in me. Her belief that love sometimes just needs a little help finding its way. That night, after everyone had gone home, I rocked Rose gently in the nursery I'd painted sage green. "Your great-grandma would have adored you," I whispered. "She knew you were mine long before I ever found you. And she made sure nothing would stand in our way." Rose sighed in her sleep, tiny and safe in my arms. My path to motherhood hadn't been easy. It hadn't been traditional. But it had led me right where I was meant to be. Sometimes the best families aren't the ones we're born into. They're the ones we choose.